Hello. This video will explain why I've gotten kind of disappointed with politics, and I am to the point where I think the United States is doomed. As a nation, is going to go away within my lifespan. And I don't say this with any pride, because I know there's a lot of people who don't like the United States and they think this is going to be a great thing, that they'll be able to create this perfect society. Now we get all rid of all the old trappings of capitalism and whatnot, and that's what the liberals would be thinking. And there's a lot of them who generally wish to have a revolution and change the United States into their utopic world in which they control everybody and everything. Here's the problem I see. Let me give you an example. I can show you by this picture. And let's just look at this for 5 seconds and you'll see my point. Now, this is the problem we see here. If we remove 8 of the zeros behind the budget issue in the United States and try to pretend that this budget of the United States is a family budget, something we can understand better, this is what it would look like. The annual income of the United States, the family of the United States, would be $21,700. The family of the United States spends $38,200 per year. Sorry. The new debt on our credit cards, what the United States family owes, would become $16,500 each year. How much the country owes as a family on credit cards is $151,000. This is an older document, so it's gone up since this has been created. And this is what the government has proposed in cuts that they think show that they really care. And they have decided to cut $385. Now, here's the thing. What we need to do, there's 2 ways of fixing this problem. Way number 1, everyone gets hurt. I mean absolutely everyone. Social programs get cut. Social Security paychecks go down. Medicare paychecks go down. Medicaid goes down. The military gets cut back. Branches of the government get dissolved. The government employees, half of them get laid off. Pay cuts across the board for all government employees, including elected officials and their staffs. If we did that, we could, and a commitment that when we found a surplus in our budget, which would of course have to be balanced, but not only balanced, go one step further, not only balanced, but designed so that we would have excess money to throw at our debt and do so consistently. And don't say, well, gosh, we got an extra $21 billion. Let's spend it on a program. No. Instead say, we got an extra $21 billion. Let's apply it to our debt. If we did that, the United States could survive this. We could. Problem is, no one wants to do that. In fact, the closest to that you hear is, well, we want a balanced budget amendment. And that's the closest you'll hear. And the balanced budget amendment doesn't even take in consideration bottom line budgeting, baseline budgeting, in which every year when they add more spending onto the federal government, the next year they consider that their baseline. So every addition adds to the baseline of what the government expects. So each year, what government intends to spend goes up. And if you try to cut down below that, people scream about how terrible you are, how much you're going to be taking from the people, that you're doing all these huge cutbacks, because you won't recognize the baseline system that they've established. So I see no effort on either the Republicans or the Democrat side to cut the budget. The one political movement that seems actually interested in saving us from this national debt bomb is the conservative movement. And that's been demonized by the media and by pundits everywhere. Both the Republican Party and the Democrats and the liberals, the three other sides of the political fence, dislike the conservatives and work against them. They want bigger government. So, clearly, at this stage of the game, barring a few candidates, I don't think we're going to get this change. And no one wants to get hurt. When it talks about cutting things, everyone wants the other person cut. So no one's going to get cut. So what's the second option? Well, what do you do when the country owes so much money that they can't possibly pay it off? You do what Russia did, the USSR did. You reboot. Your debts are forgiven because the country no longer exists. The currency no longer exists. You reboot. And the same people can stay in power. You just simply switch them around a little bit and produce a new nation, call it a different name, and the same parties are still there. The same power structures are still there, but they don't own anything anymore. Which would be devastating to other countries who invested heavily in us and devastating to the people of the United States, but great for their leadership. Because it basically means if you've saved up, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, whatever, in your savings account of American dollars, they're worth absolutely zippo. When they reboot, you've been robbed. Your money's gone. But I see all of our political leaders positioning themselves financially and politically for a reboot. And I see no effort on the part of any of the political parties to actually avoid a reboot. So I expect within the course of my lifetime that this country will reboot. And when it does, there's going to be riots. There's going to be angry elderly people wondering where their Social Security check is. Of course, it's not there because the government that made the deal with them is gone. You'll have liberals who will probably take arms and actually go into violent killing of people to try to establish their perfect communist state in which they can control everything about your lives so that they can save the planet or have social justice or make up for past offenses or, whatever. Recognize the rights of the workers. So, and then you'll have the conservatives who want to reestablish the traditional American republic based on what our founders created, which I don't think most people would recognize anymore. They would expect government to do so much more than what our original founders intended it to do. So, I just see a lot of problems happening, and I think the reboot will probably cause a schism in the United States, at least maybe another civil war. But at the very least, the new nations like the nation of Texas will be formed, or something like that. States that are strongly Republican will reboot as closer to what the Founding Fathers wanted. States that are largely liberal, like California, New York, and so on and so forth, will become communistic. And there will be conflict between them to try to remerge all the groups into one entity, which won't work. It'll just be a bloody war. And if there isn't a bloody war, they'll just be separate nations. But in the long and the short of it, the dollar will go away. The United States will go away. And we'll have this reboot. Anyways. There you have it. And that's why I'm not being as excited about politics anymore. Because I don't see anyone approaching the cures that are necessary. And everyone wants everyone else to get hurt, but not themselves. So, there you have it. God be with you. Have yourself a good day.